more TEW Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah, we're gonna be doing Doctor Death this week and the Brawl for All episode. Um, Brawl for All was WWE's way of bringing Doctor Death in. It was Vince Russo's way of getting back at Bradshaw for something that likely never happened, and it was a unmitigated total disaster. Hopefully, not like my show. My show should be better. All the matches are works. Everybody, we know who's going to win, except the 40-man battle royal that I do just to, you know, give everybody something to do. But yeah, let's start the Brawl for All.
In 1998, the World Wrestling Federation enlisted 16 wrestlers in a radical experiment.
I got Dr.
An
Death
unscripted, legitimate prize fighting tournament.
beating up Warrior.
Put on gloves, let him go out there. Let's legitimately see who the toughest guy is.
Oh no.
The Brawl for All was probably the worst idea in the professional wrestling world.
Wrestlers risked their bodies and their careers for a chance in the spotlight. For some, it would all come crashing down in the Brawl for All.
Damaged heel.
A lot of people did get hurt. I was fucked up.
It was looking kind of sad. The guys were gassing, blowing up, and the crowd wasn't really getting with it.
They got hurt. They got embarrassed. And they got their career short.
100. Let's hope they do the same for the match.
Come on, watch it. Just watch. You'll see.
By the late 90s, wrestling had become a global
whoa.
phenomenon. Two companies were competing for dominance in a TV ratings war, as every Monday night, millions would tune in to watch WWF or WCW. The battle was fought through an escalation of bold and provocative new ideas. Some still resonate today, others are long forgotten. On this episode, we reveal the inside story of what's been called wrestling's worst idea ever.
This is Vince Russo here for the brand. We will talk about anything today but professional wrestling. Why? Because I hate wrestling, bro. I don't want to talk about wrestling. I'll talk about your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather. My name is Vince Russo. I was a head writer at WWF Magazine. Around the time when I started writing the magazine, like 95, 96, the product was horrible. There were characters at the time that were so bad. T.L. Hopper, The Goon, Mantar.
Is this? It looks like a half-man, half-beast. Hey!
I'm like, there's no way he's getting his head in the ring. And sure enough, he cannot get in the ring. Times were changing.
93.
And the WWE kept going backwards. With the internet,
Come on,
the
Sean.
secret was out of the bag.
You can do better.
People know this is fake. What they really want to know is what kind of really goes on behind the scenes. That's where everything was moving.
There's a lot of people that try to say it doesn't matter whether people know that it's rigged. I don't like to use the word fake. It does matter.
Why don't you like to use the word fake?
Because there's nothing fake about it. It may be predetermined, may be choreographed. It can be manipulated. But
That's
there's
us,
nothing fake
Jim
about
Cornette.
guys breaking their bodies down. I'm Jim Cornette. I've been a promoter,
There's
a
Ricky
matchmaker,
Steamboat,
manager, trainer,
Ted DiBiase,
everything in wrestling for
Warrior,
the last 40 years.
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
When I started working for the WWF,
The Hart family, dude, I love it.
Circle, they were lifers. They had been in the wrestling business forever, and I felt that they were looking at the wrestling business from within. I came as a fan.
Vince McMahon is somebody that is never going to be fully understood. He's a genius and a demon. Vince McMahon has no other hobbies.
A
I
demon
doubt very
for sure.
seriously if he's gone to the grocery store or been to a movie in over 40 years. But Vince McMahon has always been the WWF.
The Hart
I
family,
got a call
everybody.
from Vince's assistant, and she said, Vince wants to see you up here immediately. So I literally think I am going up to his office to be fired. Then as I walk in his office, all the minions, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Ross, Pat Patterson, Jim Cornette, And Vince has got the Raw magazine in his hand, and he slams it down on the table, and he says, "This is what our television show needs to be." And from that point on, I became involved in the writing of the show.
Vince Russo brings an outsider's perspective to the secretive world of matchmaking, and he isn't afraid to push his own vision of what wrestling could be.
At first, I was like, okay, he's a goof. He's never been involved in wrestling. He doesn't know how this stuff works. We can try to explain it to him. And within a few months, I realized he didn't want to learn. He wanted to do wrestling the way he wanted to do it, which was the Jerry Springer Show.
The Jerry Springer Show was the hottest thing on TV. We literally would sit there and write Monday Night Raw with the Springer Show playing in the background. This approach would become the Attitude Era.
You had angles where guys were stealing each other's wives, or, one guy stole the other guy's dog and cooked it and fed it to him.
Back then, man, you had fraternities on college campuses gathering every Monday night to watch Raw across the country. So number one, you don't want to insult their intelligence because they'll never watch it again. And number two, you don't want to mamby-pamby it. That's what I was all about during the Attitude Era, was what was going to make a casual television viewer watch this product if they weren't a wrestling fan.
To maintain their edge, WWF needs a constant stream of original ideas, something audiences have never seen before.
Look, here's the deal, man. You got to bring something to the old man. He's looking for an idea. What's the next big thing? I don't know. How about this? Okay. I'm Jim Ross. Got in wrestling in 1974, so my career has lasted for many generations as a broadcaster, as administrator, and executive vice president. The idea came from Vince Russo, so get inside his head. Hell, I don't know.
The idea from the Brawl for All was really simple, okay? I was not a big fan of JBL, John Layfield. I was from New York. John was, from Texas. I thought he had a big mouth. I thought he was full of himself. I thought he was a bully. We were backstage at a show one day, and John Layfield made the comment that if this were real, I would beat everybody's ass in the locker room. So now I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, you braggadocious bully bastard, I know of at least 10 guys in this locker room that'll kick your ass. I went to Vince McMahon, and I proposed the idea of a Brawl for All. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, Vince, we're becoming more and more and more and more real. Let them fight for real, man. Put on gloves, let them go out there, let them fight. Let's legitimately see who the toughest guy is. Vince gave the idea his blessing, and we went on with the Brawl for All.
The top stars have nothing to gain risking their reputation in an unpredictable fight. The challenge is to find 16 competitors with nothing to lose.
I got stabbed with a bottle, a wine bottle. It was in a bar fight. They broke a bottle and stuck it in. When they stuck it in, it went in and up. Punctured a lung collapse, shredded the diaphragm, and lacerated the liver. Everybody knows me as Bart Gunn here in the States, part of the Smoking Guns. Cowboy gimmick who rode horses out. That was pretty cool.
Hey there, I'm Bart, and I'm Billy.
For whatever reason, everybody that comes in as a tag team, eventually they get split up. When Billy and I were split up, my career kind of, I don't want to say fizzled. I guess it's good to say it fizzled out. I had a hard time adjusting to it, though. It was a little difficult. When I was first approached, it was Bruce. He says, hey, yeah, we're going to do this Brawl for All, kind of a tough man contest. I go, how are you going to do that? I said, nah, I said, don't want to do it. I thought it was a stupid idea. And then Kevin Kelly, he said, this here would be great for your career. He says, you're kind of stuck right there at the middle, and you go through this, you'll have a great run with Austin, because that's the winner of the tournament. You'll get a run with Steve Austin. And at the time, he was the hottest thing going. And then, of course, you work with the top guy, you get top pay. And I thought about it, and that's when I decided I would go ahead and do it.
The WWF approaches their toughest, most underutilized wrestlers with the lure of cash prizes and main event status.
Well, there were a lot of tough guys in the locker room. I think when I looked at this thing, I'm like, Godfather, was probably the toughest guy.
big 6'7", 6'8" guy. I worked in bars and been a bouncer.
My real name is Charles Wright. I wrestled for many years in the WWF as everything from Papa Shango to Kama. Joined the Nation of Domination with The Rock and that whole group. And then became my favorite person ever, The Godfather. Selling white girls on TV, talking about getting high, and selling pussy. I'm in the Nation of Domination now. They're building up Mark Henry, The Rock's taking over. So now I'm like, I gotta make a change. They're not doing nothing with me. Bruce Pritchard had called me and said, hey, we're doing this thing. You get, I think, $10,000 if you fight and so much more if you win. And you're wearing gloves. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. Oh, well, that's stuff I do anyway. So I was in right from the beginning.
Darren Drozdov was one of my favorite recruits of all time. Came out of the University of Maryland. He just wanted to compete.
They brought me in as a football player to see if I could learn the sport.
We saw footage of him puking on an NFL game.
I threw up all the time. If I was throwing up at that time, if I can grab a hold of you, you get one in the face.
I brought him to the WWE offices and to have a meeting with Vince McMahon. Vince loves that kind of humor. If you're a writer and you come up with a skit that involves puking, taking a dump, peeing, you'll probably buy it.
He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke!
And now we know even more about why.
The way I thought, you'll do it this way, I'll come in as puke. I got my foot in the door or whatever, and, I just went from there.
Russo's idea is gaining traction, but not everyone in the WWF is convinced it'll work.
I first heard about the Brawl for All, I believe, at one of the TV tapings when they were mentioning it was going to be starting in the next few weeks. And as I grasped what they were talking about, I got more and more concerned about it.
You don't know it's not going to work until you try it. I didn't kill the idea in my mind's eye when I first heard it. There was no precedent for it. And you're taking guys out of their element and put them into their imaginary element of what they pretend they know, and that's bar fighting. When some of them have never been in a bar fight. Now the wrestlers are living out their fantasies. And the result is chaos.
With the unusual concept of combining professional wrestling and real fighting, the architects of the Brawl for All make final preparations.
They went around to all the talent and asked who wanted to participate. The story was, and I didn't see this hat, but the story was that the pairings were chosen at random by drawing names out of a hat.
What we did, and we did it in my office, had Savio Vega. We had a brown paper bag. I wrote everyone's name down on a piece of paper, threw it in a bag, then Savio drew the names. And the first name drawn was the first name on the bracket, and so on and so forth. So that's how the brackets were made.
As the brackets
Supposedly.
are set, these 16 men become the official competitors in wrestling's first ever legitimate prize fighting tournament.
You knew Steve Blackman was like the real deal. Then you had a guy like Mark Merrow, who was a legitimate Gold Gloves champion.
Mark Canterbury, 6'5", 300, punches like a bull.
John Layfield Bradshaw. He's a big old rough and tough Texan.
Brockus was a bodybuilder. He didn't have any mobility.
Baracus had about as much business in the Brawl for All as I would.
Savio Vega always had like a little bit of a belly, but could take care of himself.
Hogg would have no problem pulling a guy's eyeball out and eating it or biting his nose off his face.
Bart Gunn was hardworking, dependable, loyal. You could rely on him.
Droz was a no-fear kind of guy.
Bob Holly was a badass on a street level.
Carl Ouellette, big-time talented kid.
Godfather. He beat up people like for a living.
Dan Severn was a UFC Hall of Famer, a super fight champion, a Triple Crown winner.
Ron Harris walked into bars for one reason, and that was to fight.
Too Cold Scorpio had decided he would try and break out of the Flash Funk, ha-ha gimmick.
The one man that stands out is recent WWF acquisition Steve Williams, also known to fans as Dr. Death.
He's like a little brother. We brought him out of college, gave him his first job.
Introducing first in the red corner, from the University of Oklahoma, Steve Dr. Death Williams.
He was a homegrown, sentimental favorite.
I think he was four-time All-American football, and I believe he's four-time All-American wrestler, too. Toughest guy in the business.
Does this face look like he's ever been scared?
Jim Ross's boy. A lot of heat for that, saying that, but he's Jim Ross's boy. You hear about the stories of Japan. He's just beat the Japanese up, drop them on their head.
The reason for bringing Dr. Death into WWE was to eventually have a run with Stone Cold. So we thought if this works out and Doc can pull his way through this tournament, we might have him ready to have a program with Austin.
These guys for years and years go out there and they have a choreographed fight. You know, at some point in the locker room, like, these conversations really had to come up. Like, how bad an ass is Steve Blackman? Now it was real. Now a lot of these questions were going to be answered.
Scheduled over a 2-month period, the Brawl for All premieres June 29, 1998 on Monday Night Raw. Each match consists of 3 one-minute rounds, with 5 points awarded for each landed punch and each takedown. The last man standing will receive a $75,000 cash prize.
We are watching the Brawl for All for the first time in over 20 years.
Look at this. Here, look. See?
Oh, this is great, man. Catching up. God, I was 28 years old and I'm 50 now, so.
Maybe 2, 3, 4 hours before the match, get ready to fight a UFC fighter. Well, me, I was outside with some of the girls smoking cannabis. And that just goes to show you, one, that I was always smoking cannabis. That's not the big deal. 'Cause I had no fear.
Anybody who knows anything can tell right off the bat these guys do not know how to box, and it's just sloppy.
You've gotten away from all your moves and all your setups. It has nothing to do with wrestling.
Jim Ross had to try to explain to the fans why these guys may be great wrestlers, but they look like 2 drunks in a bar right now.
It's not just the fans who are frustrated. The chaos of the fights makes them difficult for anyone to follow.
I was so confused whenever I got signed up and the rules kept evolving and takedowns legal.
I don't know if that's a takedown or a knockdown or... Hold on, that's a takedown? That should be a takedown right there. You think?
You've got a referee that's never refereed boxing or competitive fight. You've got judges that have never judged any type of competitive fight. When you've got stupidity on this grand biblical scale, anything is possible.
I mean, again, I gotta be honest with you. As a
Cornette.
pure television viewer, I'm totally entertained by this.
Dan Severn narrowly defeats the Godfather in the first round, but senses his reputation as a decorated fighter is at risk if he continues on. He decides to drop out of the tournament altogether, which sends the Godfather
Dan Severn
into round 2.
was the only one
Nobody
with
knew what
some
was going
fucking
on.
sense.
And that's when guys started saying, let's just punch each other. They get excited, just throw punches. Somebody gets knocked out, they get knocked out.
At the time, I was wrestling with Bob Holly. We were a tag team. We were actually the Midnight Express. But my first bout and his, they put us against each other. You know, I just thought that was really a shitty way of doing it. So yeah, we drew them all out of the hat. This is the way it came out. No, I'm not buying that one.
As the reality of the situation takes hold, brotherhood and professional relationships are put aside.
My friend, my partner, we're going to go out and whack each other. Started kind of weird because we traveled together, shared rooms. You know, we always ate together, go train together. So, well, I got to hit him or he's going to hit me.
Oh, let us smack it.
I didn't go easy on him. I wanted to win.
Here's your winner of Nation Sports.
Do you recall what it was like afterwards?
Yeah, well, actually, we had to get in the car because we stayed in the same
What
room that
happened
night.
here?
It was a little quiet, a little awkward. I think we might even had a match or something the next day together, you know, as a tag team.
Vince McMahon can't keep his finger out of anything, so even something that's supposed to be a legitimate shoot, he probably said to himself, as long as they're really fighting, we can play with the matchmaking all we want.
Right.
People talked about, they've had the Dr. Death theory that this was skewed to Dr. Death, put him in there with a one-eyed guy. No, it wasn't.
Carl Ouellette had sight in one eye. Should he have been in Brawl for All? Hell no. What are we thinking? He's blind in one eye.
Hey, I have Cara Ouellette on my show.
Was the first of several, one after the other.
I tore my bicep and I mean, tore quads and tore ACLs. It was like it was jinx.
Vince could have pulled the plug on this any time he wanted to, but he chose not to.
He didn't take but 1 week of TV to convince me that this thing has shit the bed. I dreaded having another night of Brawl for All matches because you never knew who's going to get hurt tonight because it seems to be inevitable.
What?
And enough is enough.
The Brawl
Lack
for
of
All
big
tournament
names.
is already on the rocks, but through the chaos,
Who
an
else do you
unlikely
want?
hero is set to emerge.
When I was in the 9th
That
grade,
threw
I
me
weighed
off
89
there.
pounds. I was the shortest kid in class.
Lack of
So
big
I got
names.
picked on constantly. They slap you in the head, they push you, they trip you, knock your books out of your hands. And then I got older, grew up, got a little bigger, and then I kind of went back, and everybody that kind of picked on me, I went back and paid them a visit. Let them know what it was like.
Oh yeah.
After an awkward victory over his tag team partner in the first round of the Brawl for All, Bart Gunn awaits his next opponent.
Well, what happened was, Bruce calls me up. He says, "Oh, Bart, just gonna let you know, you're gonna be fighting Dr. Death." I go, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, so you changed the brackets around." And I go, "Well, Bruce, why don't you guys leave it like it is and save us for the end?" I said, "I'd be more than happy to work with you guys, because everybody knows you guys want him to win." He goes, "No,
Right.
no, we got all the faith in the world in Dr. Death." That tells me right there it was designed for him. Absolutely. I already knew that, because anytime they actually advertised the Brawl for All, they talked about Steve. I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, let me ask you this. Am I going to get heat with you guys when I beat him?" He goes, "Oh, no, no, no. We got all the confidence in the world in him."
Now, Bruce at that time had known Doc for a long time, just like we all had, and I think kind of giggled. Said, "Sure, yeah, knock out Dr. Death."
When they said that, it kind of made me feel like now they're already putting him with me now. Maybe they don't have any confidence in me and I'm just a nobody.
Well, why wouldn't you have confidence in Dr. Death? Is that a sin? He was a fucking 4-time All-American in wrestling and Division I. They don't give that stuff away.
Boxing.
As I walked in the door,
Different
Pat
sport.
Patterson, he walked right up to me. He says, "Oh, so you're going to knock out Dr. Death, are you?" And at that time, I was just furious. It just boiled my blood, because they nagged at me all day long. They said, "Oh, yeah, you're going to knock him out. You're going to knock him out." I go get something to eat or anywhere in the hall, somebody would have something smart-ass to say. They're all back there. They got their little clans and yakking, so just kept it all bottled up all day long.
When that match came on, it was standing room only at those monitors. It became very, very, very real.
As both men head to the ring,
Yeah, y'all can have
Dr.
him.
Death is the overwhelming favorite.
At that time, I was
Let me
so
make sure you
furious
pay
because
for
of
him.
what everybody in the office was saying. And I was more tunnel vision. I wasn't seeing it any other way. I was going to go out and beat him. Stood there toe to toe, just making my mind, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to have to do.
The stakes are high in this matchup in the Brawl for All.
He took me down. I was kind of surprised at that.
But then at some point, Bart switched up his game plan and took Doc down.
Uh-oh.
He was like halfway out of the ropes, and he's like, "Damn, brother." And then I just said, "Sorry, what do you want me to do with the shoot? It's not like we're out there working."
Then at some point, Doc tore his hamstring.
Yeah, they can get him down now. This could be that's a takedown.
And now suddenly, Dr. Death Steve Williams has become a 300-pound one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest where you need to be immobile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right there at the end, as I caught him a couple of times, he was staggering. And I thought, man, he's fixing to go down.
And it had happened. Boom, boom, boom.
The big left hand by Bart Gunn caught the Doctor.
And down goes Doc.
He's out. Shit.
And my heart sunk. And I got a bad feeling in my stomach because I
Oh,
didn't hear
shit.
Dr. Death's WWF career.
Yeah.
Dr. Death's injuries are so severe, he's forced to undergo a lengthy rehabilitation. But the damage to his reputation proves far worse. Within a year, he'd be out of the WWF entirely.
There comes Russo walking down the hallway. I said, "Are you happy? You just cost the company $5 million in 1 year." And he looked at me and went, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You idiot! Dr. Death Steve Williams just got beat on live television in front of everybody. What difference does it now? Bart Gunn's gonna be a star now." I said, "I want to kill you! I would like to just squeeze you until your britches are full and your eyeballs pop out."
Doctor's Death, I'm sure we could have done a lot with him, but it's not like he was coming in at his peak or his prime or on his way up. It's probably fair to say his best years in wrestling were behind him.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. That injury definitely cut his career short.
Kind of quiet when I went back.
Yeah.
Management didn't say anything to me. I had all the heat on me then. So I just knocked out JR's boy.
Yeah.
This whole Dr. Death element in the Brawl for All has been so grossly overthought that it has embarrassed me about some of my peers and some of my friends I actually believe there's another story. There's this covert action that's going on. We'll never really know the answer. Come on. Grow up.
I didn't really see anybody from the office after that. So it's kind of like, you guys were picking at me and I did what I was going to do.
Bart secures his place in the semifinals where the Godfather awaits. In the other match, Draws takes on Bradshaw.
Fucking bag of the egg, you cocksucker. That's Bradshaw for you, dirty bastard.
Did Bradshaw know that you had built it around him?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But I'm sure I reminded him a couple times.
Should've gotten a freaking points for a takedown there.
That was a takedown under any rules, screwy or not. That was a takedown.
Who do you think? Was close, very close in my book.
I'm on Draws' side here.
Here's your winner, Bradshaw.
Boo. That guy bullshit. Now I'm gonna be bitter for the next couple days. You guys are gonna be bitter. I won't fight. I got tears in my eyes. I'm like fired up, like shit. And I had to be wondering, of course. I don't know if the people upstairs, if they wanted me to fight Bart at the time, and I still think that it was, that I won the fight. But Bradshaw didn't go around bragging because he knew.
I so badly wanted Bradshaw to get his ass kicked. That's all I cared about, because he was so cocky, he was so confident when he made the remark. He couldn't back out of it now, because I would be the first one to say, wait a minute, whoa. I just wanted to see him get his spot clean. I'm being honest.
With only one fight left before the final, it's up to Bart Gunn or the Godfather to keep Bradshaw from having the last word.
Working at this club right here in the 90s, and I was the manager from 5 o'clock in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, and I hated pimps. And I would say, if there's any pimps behind this bar, they better not be here in the next 5 minutes, because I will knock you off your bar stool. And I swear to you, I would walk behind the bar, the pimp was sitting there just cracking as hard as I could, and they'd start running. But yeah, man, I used to be able to knock people out by slapping them in their face.
The Godfather's second-round victory over Too Cold Scorpio advances him to the Final Four. He's just 2 wins away from claiming the $75,000 prize. Standing in his way is tournament underdog Bart Gunn.
Well, this is going to be a tough fight. It's big. Then I'm watching him like shadow box and stuff. And I go, wow, he's got boxing skills too.
I went into that fight way overconfident. I've been smoking all day. Yeah, but I smoke all day, all the time. Just before I fought Bart, he said, I'm going to knock you out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good luck.
Do you remember anything of what you're thinking before going to that match?
Hit him. Don't let him take me down.
Stone cold face, okay? Psych myself up, come out throwing leathers.
And here we go. This is going to be a slugfest, JR.
We were punching. I think he kind of caught me once pretty good. I was like, wow, that kind of stung a little bit.
And somewhere in there, he hit me with something that knocked me to the ground. And I remember going back to the corner saying, I don't have my legs. I don't have my legs. I don't have my legs.
Every single person was at the monitor, and nobody could believe it.
It's a right hand, and the Godfather is down. He is out cold.
His head hit the ropes, or come real close to it. Kind of went out of the ring and kind of hanging there. It's like, wow, hope he's okay.
I mean, the reputation of the Godfather and, Bart being under the radar, I mean, unbelievable.
My wife was really upset because she was counting on that money. She was not happy about it. She blamed it on me smoking. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't give Bart the amount of respect that I should have.
Mm-hmm.
This is a few days after that fight. I was fucked up. And I had to get in a wheelchair. My leg got infected. I got this cut out. Oh, whoo. Maybe that was the stupidest idea in wrestling right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people did get hurt.
Yeah.
They're a big deal. Here's what it meant. It meant taking guys off the line who were sitting home, they couldn't work, they couldn't earn, and that lost the company money because they weren't able to be productive. It wasn't a good thing.
How
morally and intellectually bankrupt and irresponsible do you have to be to create a situation where your stars get legitimately injured just to get even with a wrestler who was bragging about how tough he was in the locker room?
He can't be feeling good about getting in the ring with Bart, man. There's no way.
At that point, that was like the finals. There's only one more left, and that was Bradshaw.
After a roller coaster 2
That's
months
all.
of combat, the Brawl for All
That's
finally
all he
set.
cares
A
about.
one-time long shot against the man who inspired it all.
Both men are trained very diligently for this contest.
Come out, just a couple punches, caught him. It's like, wow, it's over. Then he got back up. I was like, whew.
Okay, let's go. Well, this may not last much longer.
Oh, there it is. Oh, my God.
Damn. Lights out. Lights out on Bradshaw, dude.
Oh my good night. Man, he even had the jittery legs. Did you see the jumpy legs? The smelling salt ain't doing nothing to him.
When Bradshaw got knocked out, it was scary because his eyes obviously weren't there, and he twitched a little bit, and you could tell he wasn't home even a while afterwards.
Yeah.
When I saw Bradshaw get knocked out, I could not hold back those emotions. Like, I'm sorry. This whole tournament was because of him and his mouth, and there he was laying on the canvas unconscious. Bro, what you know the old saying, never ask for, how's that go? You get what you ask for, or you know what I mean.
He didn't
No.
understand even then what he had done to this day. The fucking moron doesn't understand what he's done. I believe he sabotaged the talent, the integrity of the business, got people legitimately hurt, and killed a future superstar, and doesn't realize he did anything wrong.
Yeah?
There in a nutshell, you have the skid mark on the underwear of life that is Vince Russo.
I'm 57 years old. Jim Cornette is my age. When is this ever going to stop?
Cornette believed in the steak of the business. Russo more of the sizzle of the business. And therein they have a tremendous controversy and conflict. They'll never be on the same page in my lifetime.
Jim Cornette leaves a message on my answering machine, threatening to kill me, threatening to kill my entire family.
I said, I'd just like to tell you, you no good piece of shit, you motherfucker. What a piece of shit you are, and how you narrowly escaped getting put in a fucking hospital by me with a goddamn baseball bat for all you've done to me and my friends and the careers you've ruined and the shitty wrestling that you produced. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew that from my own lips.
And I'm just like, bro, this is wrestling. Like, are you serious? Like, you're gonna kill me over professional wrestling?
Why is he doing this to me? Just over wrestling? Just over wrestling? That's what it's always been, because I can't believe that he would do this to me just over wrestling. And wrestling has been the most important thing in my life.
With a disastrous Brawl for All finally over, Bart Gunn has proven to be the toughest guy in the locker room, and he was ready to jumpstart his career. But he was in for a brutal awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these here are the gloves that they gave me from winning the Brawl for All.
It is my privilege and honor to present you with these golden boxing gloves.
What was your reaction to winning this whole thing?
That's all they
It was
do.
great. I said, man, I finally couldn't get a great push. Jim Ross comes up and talks to me. He says, hey, to be honest, we didn't think we could take Steve off his feet. He goes, I guess we should have did our homework on you a little better. And I said, well, probably
No
so.
shit.
And, I tried to work with you guys, and he's like, well, I just want you to know there's no hard feelings. And I think as soon as he said that, I thought, wow, I do got some heat.
After his victory in the Brawl for All, Bart Gunn is awaiting his big career push. The WWF are now faced with the problem of what to do with a wrestler they didn't expect to win.
It was always the plan that whoever would win the Brawl for All would get a big promotional push. When it was Bart, the win kind of came out of those sales. I'm not knocking Bart Gunn. Great athlete, good wrestler, good guy. But the way he had been presented for the previous 5 years was at a level here, not here.
Examine the facts. nobody got over. Not one son of a bitch that fought in that Brawl for All got over. End of story.
They sent me home. Now they don't know what to do with me. Vince Russo called me up and he said, Boris, we don't really know what type of a storyline gimmick to put you in. And I kind of sat home for a long time, not doing anything. The longer I sat at home, the more frustrating it was.
They let him twist in the wind for a little while, and then, of course, Vince McMahon got the idea because it's a gimmick. Butterbean! Let's let him fight Butterbean at WrestleMania.
Well, my understanding is when Bart knocked out Dr. Death, Vince got pissed. So they called me up.
Butterbean's an overachiever. You know, he's got that bald head. He's very white. He looks like a
Keeping it real, Butterbean.
What does he hit? Oh my God.
Eric Esch, aka Butterbean, is a 300-pound professional prize fighter with more than 50 wins under his belt. What he lacks in technique, he more than makes up for with raw hitting power.
So at some point it was suggested Butterbean and Bart have a boxing match because Butterbean was a great personality, great for wrestling.
I think it was presented to me, and I was like, I don't, sure, I guess. 'Cause I'm sitting at home, I was tired of sitting at home. And they said, hey, we're gonna send you to a boxing school, and they start teaching me how to box.
The crossover match serves as both the promotional push Bart has been waiting for and a chance for the WWF to cash in on Butterbean's mainstream popularity.
The man that will face Butterbean, Bart Gunn.
Well, JR, I'm not training just to beat him, I'm training to knock him out.
Me, Butterbean, and Gilbert. We were chilling. I think me and Gil were smoking. Butterbean wasn't smoking, and we were talking about it. Butterbean, he told me, he said this, I've already told Vince. He goes, you guys are tough guys, I give you that, okay? But you're not professional fighters. I will beat that kid in seconds. It's two different sports. He has no chance against me.
Vince kind of smiled at me when I went to the ring. He knew that it was over for Bart. He knew that I was going to knock him out, and he wanted me to knock him out. Walking to the WrestleMania was kind of like no experience I've ever had up to that point. This place was huge.
On March 28th, 1999, the WWF resurrects the Brawl for All concept on their largest stage, WrestleMania 15.
A talented amateur can't stand up next to a professional in any field, so there was no reason to believe that even though Bart was a great-looking athlete and Butterbean was a big, fat, round baked potato with arms and legs, Butterbean was a trained and experienced professional boxer.
I didn't feel the same as I felt with the other fights, because I'm different now. I'm a boxer now, and I got this other persona.
Here we go, round one, Brawl for All. Butterbean and Bart Gunn.
I remember being in the crowd. Something was off. This wasn't the guy that I saw knock out the Godfather and the guy that I saw knock out Bradshaw. This wasn't one of those fights.
Now I'm out there as a green boxer, trying to, hold my hands like this, hold my feet like this.
When Bart tried to box, I said, this is it. I got him now, so I just went in, charged him, just give him a couple good shots, put him to the mat. And then when I went to the corner, I'm like, man, I hope he don't get up, because it's going to be bad if he does, because he's wobbling. When Vinny let the fight go on, I'm going, oh, Vinny, you don't need to do that. He's out of it. So I just give him one last good right hand. His head actually turned around backwards. Yeah, when I got home, my kids come home from school, and they're real upset. They go, Dad, my friends told me you killed a guy on TV. You killed Bart Gunn. I said, he's not dead. He just looked like it. I'll be honest, if he would have had a 50-50 chance, if he would have went out and brawled like he did with the other guys.
Right.
Me, he actually tried to box, which was stupid.
Very disappointed, very, very mad at myself. Just wasn't happy at all. After WrestleMania, I knew I was done. There wasn't a future left there for me at all. It's the end. That was the end there for me in the States. Wow. A lot of old stuff here.
You said you hadn't watched the Butterbean fight. Can you talk about why that was the case?
I don't know if I want that on air, but I just never watched it. I was mad at myself that I made some mistakes, but it always stuck in the back of my mind. And then I saw, when I was in Japan, Butterbean. I saw he was over there. He's doing MMA. I thought, wow, this is interesting. So I've always wanted to get a second chance. And I said, I'm going to do MMA. And I got a fight with Wesley Cabbage, and Butterbean fought him. Butterbean beat him, I think, in the second or third round. Went over there, my very first MMA fight, and stopped it in the first round. So I said, I beat this guy quicker, and Butterbean beat him. One night, like on a Tuesday night, said, hey, we got you a match with Butterbean. So really great. So yeah, we want you to come fight Friday. It's like in 4 days. I said, no. So I've learned from my mistakes. It says, you can set up a match with me and Butterbean. I went 12 weeks to train for it. So that didn't happen. Could have turned out the same thing. You could have beat me again. But I would have got to do it a little bit better my way. It may sound crazy to a lot of people, but that's just kind of the way I'm driven. And then kind of time passed, and then said some things happened in my life, and after that, I was kind of done with the whole fighting thing, and I didn't do anymore. I miss being at the curtain, and going through the curtain, and out and performing. You got the excitement in the crowd, the adrenaline rush. Me going to work every day, there's not an adrenaline rush there anymore, but I enjoy sleeping in my bed every night, and, sitting having my dinner at the house. You get tired of eating out all your meals,
Nice.
7 days a week, so.
Droz' career in the WWF would continue for another year until a tragic accident changed his life forever.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your injury?
No problem, man.
Okay. Prior to it happening, what was your plans for the wrestling business?
I really had no clue. And the funny part is I was actually going to win that match. I didn't get a lot of wins.
Droz was wrestling D'Lo Brown one night, and D'Lo was very smooth, accomplished wrestler.
We were just going to do a powerbomb. And he had powerbombed me before. When he picked me up, I don't know if I slipped or what.
I have these memories are seared in my brain perfectly, which stinks. Pulled him up, and we didn't go, and we just fell forward.
But I remember going back down, I'm like, this isn't right. I couldn't get my hands down really. And I just remember hearing crack, crack. And I just went, oh fuck, I just broke my neck.
I said, stop messing with me, you okay? Can't move. When the cardinal rules is, you're supposed to leave the ring the same way you went into it. And I remember crying next to him, telling him, I'm sorry, it should never happen. It's okay, dog, it's okay.
Nothing we could have done would have changed, it just happens. So, but he's a good guy, man. I still wish him the best last time I saw him.
Neither of us, we've talked about it, we don't know what happened. Neither of us blame the other. It's one of those unfortunate accidents that happen.
Bottom line is we're still alive and still kicking. Well, not kicking really, but can't kick. I still get to go out and I hunt. I do.
He's got a good sense of humor about it.
It's just, you learn to do things differently.
Droz still paralyzed to this day. It's been more than 20 years. Things happen, in this business. And it's not ballet. And that's why it especially angers me when people diminish it. One move. He's been in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So don't tell me that wrestling is a bunch of bullshit. Just some of the ways that people that have gotten into it treat it is bullshit.
I feel bad.
How come?
Because I don't want to see anybody get hit like that, man. Oh my God. Especially now with just all the stuff we know about head trauma and everything, man. Oh man. Ugh.
I should have brought him up for the Brawl for All
Oof.
That'd been cool.
I really should have been thinking, man, these guys are out of their element with what we know about concussions today. Just knowing all that today, which we didn't know back then, no way would I ever propose it again.
I think the Brawl for All should be remembered for what it was, a cluster. It sucked. There's no reason to embrace it. It was simply a bad idea that featured a lot of guys looking to get a rub in a new event. That's what it was developed to do. Create some new stars, new rubs, new opportunities, and just didn't do it.
The Brawl for All remains the only prize-fighting tournament to be put on by the WWE. What could have been a career-defining moment for its champion instead became a stark reminder of how wrestling's winners are always chosen in the boardroom.
Bruce has said that the Brawl for All is the, quote, absolute worst idea in the history of business.
I agree with that, but they're the ones that put it on. So.
The Sandman.
That one. I think they should learn from their mistakes and probably should never do it again. Should just kind of let it disappear.
That's definitely the move as far as Brawl for Alls go. Yeah, y'all. What did we think of my booking of Dr. Death? Is it better than booking him in like a career-ending, injuring Brawl for All thing? Like a shoot fight? I mean, I know I didn't do much with him, right? Like, I gave him a nice pay-per-view debut. He's won 3 matches now. He's beat a lot of guys his level. So we're going to give him a little bit more of a push on top after that. But, yeah. I think we did all right. We did what we could with him. He's actually fucking great in the ring. He's getting like 93s. He's so athletic. I'm definitely going to try and move him up the card. I need to get him and maybe Steve Austin together as a tag team. That would be pretty cool. But, alas, it'll have to wait for the next one. We got a few more episodes left. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you're going to get these next episodes when they come out. And tuned into the Twitch channel so you can get all the freshest, newest stuff. But, yeah, thank you. Peace.